Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. Welcome. So we are continuing with some of the drama within this Battlefield discourse, and I kind of wanted to talk about the yearly release model. I do apologize guys, I am on the road, so there might be a bit of noise. I am driving at the moment. That being said, I kind of wanted to touch on this yearly release model, which I absolutely think would be a real disaster for Battlefield going forward. You know, I have touched on this before, but it's just clear as day that this team, these 4 studios making this game, currently do not have the capacity to develop this game or this franchise, guys. I mean, last couple of games have been absolutely terrible, lacking in content, devoid of that much needed Battlefield energy that we desperately need right now. Okay, I did show this article before. You know, a lot of people have been saying that they've been working on Battlefield 7, and we kind of debunked that garbage theory. This article says EA reportedly has big plans beyond Battlefield 6, wants to take on Call of Duty with a yearly release, but it'll be 5 to 6 years before we get 2 in a row. This is an absolutely pathetic idea, guys. They should not be trying to compete with COD at all. Battlefield needs to do its own thing. There was an industry analyst called Michael Pachter who claimed that Byron Beadie, the general manager of Battlefield, shared a vision. This is where this whole annual release came from. It was by the general manager Byron Beadie, and this was all shared by an industry analyst called Michael Pachter, who claimed that Byron Beadie shared a vision to make Battlefield an annual release. And so this reinforces the point that EA and the development team, their general manager, all essentially want to take on this annual release, depending on how well Battlefield 6 performs. Okay, so to achieve this, EA needs to go on a 3-studio rotation. Okay, so they reportedly aim to have 3 different studios developing separate Battlefield titles on a 3-year rotation cycle. So if you compare this to COD, we're talking Infinity Ward or Treyarch and how they ship out games on a yearly basis. So Pachter noted that it will take likely 5 to 6 years, potentially by 2028 or even later than that, before the franchise can actually achieve 2 in a row, back-to-back annual releases. This of course was confirmed in an interview as well. You can see the transcript here. It says, "You obviously can't just conjure up 3 studios out of nowhere." As Pachter notes, he, Beadie, said it's going to take 5 or 6 years before we get 2 in a row. So we're not going to get there for a while. This means there's always time for plans to change based on the reception to Battlefield 6. So again, it's likely going to take 5 or 6 years before they try to implement this yearly cadence release. That's well after Battlefield 6. We're talking sometime 2030. But again, this is all based off of the reception to Battlefield 6. So again, if this game receives enough pushback, which there already is, there's a likely chance that they will do a 180 and say, you know what, yeah, this is not going to turn out well. And so far, guys, I mean, the community have made it loud and clear. The reception to this game so far has been a fucking nightmare. You know, I don't know how clear it could be that the yearly release cadence, annual release cycle bullshit is a pathetic idea. It would completely destroy Battlefield. You know, we're going to get into that in a second again. It says, this was previously reported by an ex-DICE developer who goes by Rizabel on Blue Sky, who said that if Beadie sticks to his vision, we're going to get a full-priced main game with limited single-player, seasons, battle pass and live service slop, and a free-to-play mode like Warzone. They add that wild and crazy monetized cosmetic content is the ultimate goal. I don't use Blue Sky, so I can't verify exactly what was said or look at the context of what was said, but that is pretty much 100% accurate, guys. You know, keep in mind, this is an ex-developer at DICE. You know, and this sort of developer exodus is also a key point in this discussion as well, guys, because this former developer also claimed that approximately 98% of the original developers who worked on previous Battlefield titles have left EA. Again, reinforcing the point that this is an entirely different culture working on the game. It's a completely different team. They have a completely different ethos. And like I said before, these are progressives. Fan reaction to this news hasn't been entirely positive, with a comment on Patcher's podcast saying, "Hell no, I prefer Battlefield to come out every 3 to 4 years. I want to squeeze everything out of Battlefield 6 before I move on to a new Battlefield title." So again, that's pretty much reinforces the whole point, guys. It's a terrible fucking idea. And it pretty much guarantees that you will get live service slop. Okay, exactly like what Black Ops 7 currently is. This game has no time for that. Okay, you will cement the fact that this game will turn into a bullshit yearly release game exactly like COD, and it will suck. And of course, again, the community sentiment towards all of this news it is basically outrage. You know, fans have expressed concern that the annual release cycle could lead to a decline in quality, creativity, or developer burnout, similar to the issues faced with 2042. You know, I've already said that this development team have been struggling for years. You know, the several last games we got from BF5 onwards have been a complete lackluster joke. You know, lack of content. They completely do not have the capacity to develop the game. Okay, if you try and squeeze this development team into a yearly release cadence, it's not going to work. They're going to fucking struggle hard. There is a preference for quality over frequency. Comments highlight a preference for a 3 to 4 year development cycle to ensure games are fully polished and have longevity before a new title is released. This is common sense, guys. Okay, no one wants a yearly release bullshit game that is offering you less quality, less content. Again, this game was extremely bare bones at release. I've already done an in-depth examination of this game's bare bones state. You know, this is the reason why people are leaving. You have cosmetic content and high-priced paywalls for skins. People preferably want more realistic, grounded military skins in this game. What we're getting currently is a fashion show, but it is what it is. Okay, obviously, again, I've highlighted before, that's coming from the DEI squad currently making this game. Yeah, like I've said many times before, these people do not have the capacity to develop a Battlefield game currently. And yeah, it's just nonsense, guys. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Okay, and firstly, the studios developing the game, you know, I mean, this is a bipartisan sort of issue, okay? It's both parties here. It's EA and the developers. Because EA, they've obviously decided, okay, we want to compete with COD. These people are a bunch of old flipping idiot boomers. They don't know what the fuck is going on. They don't know how to develop the game. They don't understand the layering it takes to develop a Battlefield game, or how complex this one game is compared to COD. That being said, the developers can push back and say, you know what, this is impossible for a Battlefield game. Okay, it's not going to sustain, it's not sustainable for us as a development team. That would be too much stress to develop a yearly Battlefield game. You know, it was fine when they couldn't hit the, you know, this is like the whole scenario when EA wanted to hit that 100 million players on release bullshit. That was impossible. Okay, that is unrealistic. We know this. The game only hit 20 million players on launch, I think. Somewhere around there. Or during the beta or some shit. And the developers openly stated this is a bit unrealistic. Okay, so if they're able to challenge EA on these ludicrous fucking goals, why can't they say, okay, this yearly release model is a joke. Okay, it's unsustainable for us. It's not fucking healthy. That's way too much pressure. Okay, we just do not have the capacity to do it. Okay, these fuckers can barely handle one game. Okay, they can't deliver content for one game. This yearly release model will basically guarantee that you will get hardcore slop. Even worse than Battlefield 6. Like, you can guarantee you'll get a skeleton game on release with no content, with no scale. It's missing modes, many of those core elements in the sandbox gone. Vehicles not in the game on release. You know, reduced sandbox, reduced weapon arsenal, customization is reduced. The list goes on. You can expect to see that with the yearly release going forward on another level. Again, the developers can push back, but they haven't. Okay, they've actually said they're actually in line with this fucking yearly cadence release bullshit. They both want to take this on. That just goes to show you how tone deaf and out of touch these fucking developers are, along with EA. Both parties don't know what the fuck they're doing. BF3, Bad Company 2, BF4, BF1, or even the old games like Battlefield 2. Those games understood what Battlefield was. They took a lot of time to make, and guess what? They were all quality games. They had the scale, they were designed around tactical gameplay, strategy, and that combined arms gameplay, you know, the squad. Support engineer, assault, recon, whatever. These modern games, they're built to be COD games. You know, it's very obvious that this developer has an obsession with fucking COD. They have that COD, you know, dildo up their arse to this day. Like, you know, they went ahead and hired COD developers, Vince Zampella and so on. The whole lab tester group, you can clearly tell those aren't Battlefield players. Those are COD adrenaline junkie. Those are not Battlefield players. I have no idea what they do in the labs, guys. But yeah, this whole scenario is ridiculous. They need to drop this yearly release plan because that will cement the fact that this franchise is a joke. This is one of the last franchises worth playing. You know, everything else is dog shit currently. Every AAA game on the market today sucks ass. You know, from COD to Halo to fucking Gears of War, every single studio sucks ass, okay? That is in part due to the developers. Like I've said, the culture around developing games has changed. The industry has changed. They've embraced progressivism. Wokeness is the result. And this is also within the publishers and the companies creating these games as well. They are also compounded by this one issue. That being said, again, I need to stress that this yearly release model is absolutely pathetic. Okay, this EA should not be trying to compete with COD. That is the most brain-dead fucking naive cunt shit I've seen in my life. Okay, let COD be COD. Why are you so obsessed with creating a COD game? I just don't get it. And we've seen this sort of, how much of an impact this has had on the campaign as well. I mean, for years, Battlefield has just been trying to copy COD. You know, you've seen it in the campaign, guys. Like, they wanted to create this cinematic approach. You've got first-person camera cinematics. Again, a very linear style story. And all of that translates into the multiplayer, guys. Like, it's become a linear, fast-paced, high-octane bullshit game. And again, the developers could not deliver a solid project on release. They told you to temper your expectations. And that's because they don't want to put in the effort, guys. Because they can't put in the effort. All they could do is provide the bare minimum. And, you know, that's what they plan to do going forward. Okay? And I want to touch on a bit of this Season 2 release, which is just in a few days. We've got this new map, the Hagandhal Base. This is obviously in line with the nighttime limited mode. This limited mode is dog shit. I've already seen gameplay of this map. I just don't understand why we need to keep shoving in limited time events into this game. I know Electra Christofi has already made a statement that they're going to drop limited time modes. Listen, you don't have enough content in this game. You don't have time to be fucking playing around with limited time events. Get in as much content as you can, please. Okay, this game is dying. And that's because of the lack of content. It needs large open environments. Instead, we're shoving in fucking meat grinder maps. I don't know who keeps gaslighting this development team into creating meat grinder maps. Again, I don't know what they're doing in the labs group. Are they all retarded? They must be. You know, I know there are some people who are in the labs group and they're like, you know, what the fuck is going on? Please tell them. You know, you have the right to say, okay, this isn't what I signed up for. Please make something else. Like, something in line with what we need right now. We don't need CQC heavy maps. We don't need corridor heavy meat grinder bullshit. You know, especially with the limited time modes like the night event going on in Hagandhal Base. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Again, they're all tone deaf, they're all lazy. This is just a crazy scenario, guys. Yeah, drop the limited time modes. Get rid of that shit. Just make it cool content. The Hagandhal Base map, I'm not going to consider this as real content. To me, this just seems like another portion of a map you already delivered. Okay, it's part of Contaminated. It's the interior spaces of Contaminated. Like I said before, guys, this is the only real piece of content you're getting for the next this whole season, this next season 2 season. This is the only real map you're getting for this whole season. Contaminated, Hagandhal Base is literally just the interior spaces of Contaminated. Okay, and then Operation Auga, which is the final addition to this whole bullshit, is probably just the whole map. Grand operations on this whole map, including the interior spaces. I don't know too much about Operation Auga, but the whole thing just seems like a joke to me. This is not enough content. Okay, and the content coming in is substitutional. Like it's a section of another map. Like, come on, give us different locations. Give us larger play spaces. You know, this is the kind of substitution I've been talking about, guys. This is what you get with these people. And they're trying to con you. Like, instead of giving you real experiences, you're getting bullshit. Small ass bullshit. We don't want small ass bullshit. Yeah. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Yeah. Please let me know what you guys think. Yeah. See you in the next one.